Hey everyone, AquaTwist here. We need to talk again, and I'm speechless right now. I was on Twitter just a few hours ago. I was coming home from work, and I saw this. The U.S. Copyright Office announced today that they would not grant a new exemption in support of video game preservation. Are you serious? A year ago, I was warning about this stuff in that current state of game preservation news, saying, hey, there's stuff being done, but this is friggin' awful. Like, we have to do something. So, for more context, let's take a look at this other article before I get into my tirade. Alright, from Nintendo World Report. U.S. Copyright Office denies petition for remote library access for video game research. To avoid the potential of piracy, you'll be given no option other than piracy. After a hearing earlier this year for a petition 3 years in the making, the U.S. Copyright Office announced today they would not grant a new exemption in the Digital Millennium Copyright Act, DMCA, in support of video game preservation. The exemption, which was brought forth by the Software Preservation Network, SPN, with support from the Video Game History Foundation, would have allowed libraries to provide remote access to out-of-print video games for the purpose of scholarly research. The proposal was supported by a study done by the Video Game History Foundation, proving that only 13% of games released before 2010 are actively in print in any form. The petition was also supported by multiple companies within the reissue market, who felt that it would not only do no more harm to their business, but ultimately increase interest in classic games. Opponents such as the ESA claimed that the exemption would hurt the marketability of reissuing old games, despite statements from Limited Run or Mainstream Arcade to the contrary. They also claimed that 87% of games known as unavailable in the study were due to unintentional windowing in business strategy. That's just some government BS right there. The study found these games were more often unavailable due to complicated licensing and rights issues that are unique to the video game industry and ultimately unlikely to be resolved. It is worth noting that these limitations do not exist for other forms of media, including software that is not video games, like movies and TV shows, though there is currently no clear definition of what constitutes a video game in this context. I know it's been a bad year for the industry. This is the nail in the coffin. Obviously, there's still a lot of support for physical games. It's not like the 1980s where there was so much that it just stopped, right? Indies are booming. I want to make a video about that eventually, and it's awesome. But this means that they are in this we don't care about this old stuff. We just want to do new stuff and new stuff with the old IPs and franchises. Unbelievable. But anyway, hold it! God bless Video Game History Foundation. They have an awesome statement. I'm going to read this and then I'll share everything, because if it wasn't for the statement, I would have lost hope in everything right now. I'm not even kidding. So they talk about, what I just read about the DMCA saying no, game preservation is not going to be supported in terms of the exemption. While we are disappointed by the Copyright Office's decision, we have no regrets about going through this process. Over the last 3 years, working on the petition has helped us generate important research, notably our survey of the video game reissue market in the United States, which I already talked about, which proved that around 87% of games released in the US before 2010 remain out of print. Our combined efforts with SPN have raised significant public awareness of these issues and have already made an impact throughout the game industry and preservation communities. So I'm assuming that companies like Digital Eclipse and stuff like that, maybe Capcom or bigger companies or AAA to AA, maybe some indies have already signed the petition, if I have to guess. Unfortunately, lobbying efforts by rights holder groups continue to hold back progress. During a hearing with the Copyright Office, the ESA declared they would never support remote game access for research purposes under any conditions. The game industry's absolutionist position, which the ESA's own members have declined to go on the record to support, forces researchers to explore extra-legal methods to access the vast majority of out-of-print games that are otherwise unavailable. It's probably piracy. We're not done fighting here. We'll continue our advocacy for greater access and legal allowances for video game preservation and working with members of the game industry to increase internal awareness of these issues. We encourage members of the game industry who are disappointed by the Copyright Office's decision to ask their leadership to push for greater support in the work of libraries and archivists within industry groups. Yes! Thank you. God bless the Video Game History Foundation. I really wanted to meet them at PAX and thank them personally, because we need people like this. We need Digital Eclipse and Atari 50. Stuff like that and just seeing like all these amazing things preserved, like the hundreds and thousands of hours of going back and documenting stuff, interviewing people, playing these games on modern hardware. Like, obviously not every single game on the planet is going to get that treatment, but there is a reason why we've been seeing so many remasters, remakes, ports, whatever, because old hardware dies and fails. You have to constantly push stuff. I want to get more personal because this is outrageous. I've wanted to be a game preservationist something, whether that's like, you know, an archivist within a gaming company, a historian, freelance, or whatever, or just something to do with that. I don't just want to collect games to collect games. It's cool. I like spending money to buy the games I want to play and beat them in, but it's like, that's just selfish. I want to use this for a positive benefit. And if you go back to this very tweet, it's just showing that it's like, no, they don't care about that. The government does not care about this. What are you saying then? Are you saying games are not as important to preserve as books, movies, plays, stuff that's referenced and just helps us shape who we are as people, saves our lives? You're saying games like friggin' Animal Crossing New Horizons, which came out during a pandemic and saved millions from God knows what. You're saying stuff like that in the next 20 years. It's like, oh, nope. Can't go back and like research it. Sorry. Can't research how games saved the pandemic. Unbelievable. This is fucking atrocious. And I know, it's just really unfortunate. I'm not saying the dream is dead. If there's one good thing, the Video Game History Foundation and people like this, people like me, and all these sorts of things, it's like this level of awareness, the amount of increased demand in physical games and media period with all these streaming services just getting too expensive and just, you know, cutting ties. It's like you don't own anything anymore. I think if we play our cards right, we can win this damn fight. And I'm sick of just this friggin' power imbalance and just all this ridiculousness. So the dream of game preservation is not dead, but it's on its last legs. This is just ridiculous, and I don't know what to say. We need to spread videos around like this. I'm not just saying, oh, just for the analytics. No. The whole point is to be a voice and say, game preservation is not dead, and we are telling the government and people like them that message, and they need to know. That said, thank you for watching, and as always, enjoy your physical games while you have them. See ya.
Travel to the break into round and go. I'm on a mission, routing out whatever it is I gotta do, routing out.